G&D Media presents an unabridged recording of Defeating Sad, a guide to health and happiness through all seasons by Norman E. Rosenthal, narrated by the author. All figures and tables in this book can be found on my website, which is www.normanrosenthal.com/defeatingsad-tables. Introduction. What is sad? In the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer, and that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there's something stronger, something better, pushing right back. Albert Camus. I arrived home one evening to find my voicemail unexpectedly full and wondered, what on earth could be going on? When I clicked the replay button, I heard the familiar voice of my trainer, much more excited than usual. "Hey, Doc," he said, "you finally made it. You were part of a clue on Jeopardy!" The other messages were variations on the theme. Apparently more people watch Jeopardy than I had realized. The answer to the clue was, what is seasonal affective disorder? My mind flashed back to the early days of my sad story, where I sat in my office surrounded by completed questionnaires. One after the other, people wrote about their struggles with the autumn and winter in tones so sorrowful and touching as to leave no doubt that they were experiencing a recurring state of depression and disability year after year. I was impressed not only by the seriousness of their responses, but by their monotony. Our understanding of mood disorders has been bedeviled by variability across individuals. So this sameness was exciting in suggesting a unifying underlying biology that might yield new answers to old questions. Let me explain how I came to be surrounded by these questionnaires in the first place. I arrived in the United States from South Africa in the mid-1970s, and after doing my psychiatric residency in New York City, moved to the National Institute of Mental Health, or NIMH, to join an innovative psychiatric research group. There, my colleagues, under the leadership of Fred Goodwin and Tom Ware, were studying circadian rhythms in psychiatry. Another colleague, Alfred J. Louis, spearheaded the work that first showed that nighttime secretion of melatonin in humans could be suppressed by bright light. This was an important finding since it showed that light, specifically bright light, could influence biological functions in humans beyond enabling us to see. Since the publication of Louis' landmark paper, we have come to realize that bright light can affect many non-visual functions in humans, including mood, rest and activity, and circadian rhythms. Melatonin, a hormone secreted by the pineal gland, had been recognized as important in orchestrating seasonal rhythms in non-human animals. The finding by Louis and colleagues opened up the possibility that humans might not be an exception in this regard. Into this bubbling cauldron of ideas stepped a spry middle-aged engineer named Herb Kern, who had observed seasonal patterns of depression in himself. As the days got shorter, he felt depressed and could barely do his work. That changed when the days began to lengthen, and, in his words, the wheels of my mind began to spin again. Being an engineer, unencumbered by the traditional psychiatric theories of the day, Herb was convinced that his problem had something to do with the changing light. Herb's story resonated with me. I had also felt low and slow in the dark months of winter, as did my wife. This had never happened in South Africa, which made me suspect that Herb...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?